Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Imagine for a second you're standing outside a walled city. Inside that city, there is an economy worth billions of dollars. We are talking about steady, reliable cash flow that doesn't care about recessions or stock market crashes. But the gates? The gates are locked tight. They only open once every, say, 10 years.
And usually when they do open, the line to get in is 5 miles long and you need a specific type of badge just to stand in line.
Exactly. But here's the thing, and this is why we are talking today. The gatekeeper, the GSA, just announced they are cracking those gates open again. And not just a crack, they are expanding the entry point specifically for the smaller players.
It is a massive shift. We are looking at the next generation of contract vehicles. If you are a small business in the federal space, or even thinking about it, this isn't just news. This is a drop everything and pay attention moment. Because if you miss this window, you might be locked out until the 2030s.
That sounds dramatic, but I know you're not exaggerating. We're talking about the GSA's next-gen contract vehicle expansion. For the uninitiated, let's strip away the government jargon for a second. What exactly is a contract vehicle? Because it sounds like a car, but I'm assuming we aren't talking about Jeeps.
Right, no Jeeps. Think of a contract vehicle like a hunting license. Just because you have a business doesn't mean you can sell to the government. You need a license to even bid on the work. These vehicles are pre-vetted lists. Agencies, like the Air Force or the Department of Energy, they don't want to vet every single company from scratch every time they need to buy software or consulting services.
Too much paperwork.
Way too much. So they go to the GSA, the General Services Administration, and say, "Give us a list of pre-approved companies." If you are on that list, on that vehicle, you get to bid on the billions of dollars of work that flow through it. If you aren't on the list, you can't even see the projects. You are invisible.
So being on this vehicle is basically the difference between playing in the major leagues versus playing catch in your backyard.
That is the perfect analogy. And what's happening right now, based on the latest reports, is that the GSA is expanding this vehicle. They are realizing that the old way, locking people in for 10 years, was stifling innovation. They need fresh blood. They need small businesses that are agile, that understand AI, that understand modern cybersecurity. So they are doing an on-ramp.
An on-ramp. I love that term. It sounds so smooth. But knowing federal contracting, I'm guessing this on-ramp has speed bumps, potholes, and a toll booth that costs a fortune.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a free pass. The GSA is essentially saying, okay, we need more small businesses. But they aren't lowering the standards. In fact, in some ways, the complexity has gone up because they are trying to organize everything better. They are moving away from just lowest price to best value, which sounds great, but it requires a lot more proof from the business.
Let's dig into that, because the headline here is that small businesses need to pay attention. Why specifically now? What is the danger if they just ignore this and keep doing what they're doing?
The danger is obsolescence. The federal government is consolidating its buying power. Years ago, you could hustle and get individual contracts with individual agencies. You could know a guy at the Navy and get a contract. That is disappearing. Agencies are being told, use the GSA vehicle. It's faster. It's safer.
So the side doors are closing.
Exactly. The side doors are being bricked up. Everyone is being funneled through the main gate. If a small business ignores this expansion, thinking, oh, I'm fine, I have my current clients, they are going to wake up in 2 years and realize their clients can't legally hire them anymore because the contract moved to this new vehicle.
That is terrifying. It's an extinction event for the unprepared.
It really is. And the GSA knows this. That's why they are trying to communicate this expansion so aggressively. They want to create a pool of vendors that is deep and diverse. They don't want just 5 giant defense contractors running everything. They want the small, niche firm that specializes in cloud migration or data analytics.
But here is where I get skeptical. You and I both know that wanting small business participation and actually enabling it are two different things. The barrier to entry on these things is usually the scoring system. You have to prove you've done the work before you can get the work. It's the classic catch-22.
The experience project dilemma. You're spot on. To get on this vehicle, you have to submit a scorecard. You get points for past projects, points for having certain accounting systems, points for security clearances. And historically, small businesses struggle here because they might have done the work, but maybe they were a subcontractor.
Right, they were the ones actually writing the code or pouring the concrete, but the big prime contractor got the credit.
Precisely. Now the GSA has been tweaking this. They are getting better at allowing small businesses to claim credit for work they did as subcontractors. That is a huge change. It's a game changer. If you can prove you did the work, even if your name wasn't on the top of the invoice, you can get points now. But, and here is the big but, you have to have the documentation.
There it is, the paperwork.
If you didn't document it perfectly 3 years ago, you might be out of luck. That's why the advice is pay attention. You need to be digging through your archives right now. You need to be calling your old partners and getting letters of verification. This isn't something you can do the weekend before the deadline. This is a 6-month forensic accounting project.
It sounds like a full-time job just to apply for the job.
It is. But look at the ROI. If you get on this vehicle, you have a license to hunt for the next 5 to 10 years. You have pre-negotiated rates. You have a stamp of approval that says, the U.S. government trusts us. That valuation boost alone is worth the headache.
Let's pivot a bit to the strategy. If I'm a small business owner listening to this and I'm panicking slightly, which I probably should be, what is my move? Do I go it alone? Do I try to team up?
Teaming is the secret weapon. The GSA is allowing what they call joint ventures, or contractor teaming arrangements. Basically, if I have the cybersecurity chops but no past performance in management, and you have the management experience but no tech skills, we can form a team. We combine our scores.
Like the Avengers, but for government procurement.
A little less exciting than the Avengers, but yes. The combined score gets us on the vehicle. Then, once we are in, we can figure out how to split the work. This is crucial for the really small players. You don't have to be a unicorn. You just have to know a unicorn, or be part of a herd of horses that looks like a unicorn.
I love that image. But it brings up a cultural point. Small businesses are often fiercely independent. That's why they are small businesses. They don't want a boss. Now you're telling them their survival depends on marriage.
It's a forced marriage, sure, but the alternative is starvation. And frankly, the government prefers it. They want to manage one contract with a team, not 50 separate contracts. It reduces their administrative burden. This is the trend, eh? The government is outsourcing its own complexity onto the vendors.
That's a profound way to put it. They are outsourcing the complexity. So the GSA isn't just buying services, they are buying an organized supply chain.
Bingo. And if you can't organize yourself, they aren't interested. This expansion is really a test of maturity. Can your small business act like a big business? Can you handle the compliance, the teaming, the reporting? If yes, welcome to the club. If no, stay in the commercial sector.
Which is fine, by the way. The commercial sector is great. But we are talking about the federal market, the most stable customer on the planet. I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier, the next generation aspect. What is actually new here? Is it just a new website, or is the philosophy of buying changing?
It's the philosophy. For a long time, government buying was about category management, putting things in boxes. This is it. This is HR. This is logistics. But the world is messy now. Is a drone swarm IT? Is it logistics? Is it a weapon?
It's all three.
Exactly. So the new vehicles are designed to be more integrated. They want total solutions. They want a vendor who can say, I can handle the software, the training, and the maintenance. This is harder for small businesses because they tend to be specialists.
So the expansion is trying to fix a problem the government created? They want integrated solutions, but they want small businesses. Those two things are usually opposites.
That is the tension at the heart of this. And that's why the GSA is expanding the number of domains or categories small businesses can enter. They are trying to slice the pie in a way that allows specialists to still eat. But it requires the business to be very precise about what they do. You can't just say, we do consulting. You have to say, we do data visualization for logistics in maritime environments.
Specificity wins.
Specificity combined with the ability to scale. It's a paradox. But the companies that crack this code, the ones who are niche but scalable, they are going to make a fortune.
Let's zoom out for a second. We've been talking about the mechanics, but what does this mean for the taxpayer? Does this actually result in better roads, better defense, better health care? Or is this just a bureaucracy shuffling papers?
That's the billion-dollar question. In theory, by on-ramping more small businesses, you drive competition. Competition drives prices down and innovation up. If you only have the same 3 giant corporations bidding, they get lazy. They charge whatever they want.
The lazy monopolist theory.
Right. But if you inject 1,000 hungry small businesses into the ecosystem, suddenly the giants have to wake up. They have to innovate. So yes, if the GSA gets this right, the taxpayer gets better value. We get better tech for our soldiers, better websites for our social security, and we pay less for it.
But that's a big if.
Huge if. Because if the process is too complicated, the only small businesses that get in are the ones who are good at paperwork, not the ones who are good at the actual work.
Oof, that hits hard. We end up with a government of professional form fillers.
That is the risk. That's why this current expansion period is so critical. The industry is watching to see if GSA has simplified the scoring enough to let the true innovators in, or if they've just created another hoop for the bureaucrats.
So, if I'm a small business owner listening to this and I've got my coffee and I'm staring at my screen, what is the first thing I do when this podcast ends?
First, go to the GSA website and find the draft solicitation for the expansion. Read it, not the summary, the actual boring PDF. Second, look at your past 3 years of projects. Can you quantify them? Do you have the signed evaluations? If not, start chasing them down today. And third, look at your network. Who can you partner with? Because you probably can't do this alone.
Practical, actionable, and slightly terrifying. Just how I like it.
It's better to be terrified and prepared than comfortable and obsolete.
Well said. You know, it makes me think about how the definition of business changes when you deal with the state. In the open market, you survive by being better or cheaper. In the federal market, you survive by being compliant.
Compliance is the currency. Excellence is just the product. You need the currency to sell the product.
That is a quote for the wall. Compliance is the currency.
It's the reality. And right now, the GSA is printing a new batch of currency. You just have to go pick it up.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the mechanics of the on-ramp to the philosophy of government efficiency. It seems like we are at a turning point. The door is opening, but it won't stay open forever.
That's the key takeaway. These windows are cyclical. If you miss the expansion of OASIS Plus or whatever the next acronym is, you are waiting years. And in the tech world or the service world, 5 years is a lifetime. You can't afford to wait.
It's a fascinating ecosystem. It's almost like a separate economy floating alongside the real one, with its own laws of physics.
It is, and it's recession-proof. That's why everyone wants in.
Well, for everyone listening, whether you're a CEO of a 10-person startup or just someone fascinated by how our tax dollars actually get spent, this GSA expansion is the story to watch. It's not just about contracts, it's about who gets to build the future of the government.
And who gets left behind.
Exactly. A huge thank you for breaking down the labyrinth for us today. It's complex, but it's critical.
My pleasure. Just remember, read the fine print.
Always read the fine print. And for our listeners, keep your eyes on those gates. They're opening, but you've got to be ready to run through them. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
A special thank you to MarketUS.com for furnishing us this information. You can reach them at MarketUS.com or call them at 954-636-3232. Before we go, this deep dive was created by the MarketUS.com team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's right below the subscribe link.